The safety on our roads is of highest importance to the National Road Safety Authority, the institution mandated and in charge to ensure our safety on our highways and roads. Well, today on PM Ghana, we will be having a conversation with the Communications Director of the National Road Safety Authority, Madam Pearl Edusu, as she shares with us the measures that the Road Safety Authority has taken to ensure our safety on the roads in this Yuletide season. And in these moments, they term the campaign Stay Alive. Jai Bonsam Ejumanu. Join me tonight on PM Ghana as we bring you conversations into how you and I can ensure safety on our roads and what the institution that has been charged to ensure our safety on the roads has in stock for us. My name is Reginald Addy. Let's go straight onto the conversation. Many thanks to you for staying with us. Now, in case you just joined us, you're watching the PM Ghana here on your favorite television, Adoatv. My name is your most humble servant, Reginald Addy. And as you can see, we are not streaming from our studios. We are in the confines of the National Road Safety Authority. We're here to bring you a conversation on road safety because in these times, as we head towards the Yuletide season, safety on our roads is of utmost importance. And I'm here with the Communications Director for the Road Safety Authority, Madam Pearl Edusu. She's a very good friend of mine. It's been long. Madam Edusu, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, I can certainly tell that you are good. And since you've decided to stay alive for us, we are grateful to God. How have you been and how has the authority been doing so far?
We're all doing fine, and we are grateful to God for His faithfulness, because by His grace we are still alive and we are staying alive. We pray that it continues from now till after the Yuletide, that will continue to give Him grace and praise. The authority is fine, but for a few crashes that has been happening, that is disturbing us, putting us on our toes and thinking very much what else interventions we should put in place to drastically reduce the carnages. We are fine.
Very well. We are grateful. The carnages, yes, they are there. Ashanti region seems to be topical in these times. We'll get to that point where we speak about road crashes, amongst other things. In the meantime, I have seen the Road Safety Authority being very active on, the media platforms, social media, and traditional media as well. What has inspired, this activeness?
Thank you very much. First of all, before I say anything, I say greetings to your cherished viewers and all staff at Adoatv. You know you are all my good friends and I appreciate the good work you are doing for the Mother Ghana and Greater Accra region. Yeah, we've been active recently because we have just launched our flagship campaign program dubbed Stay Alive. You know, the core function of National Road Safety Authority is education. Educating road users on the way to behave on our roads, adhering to rules and regulation of road traffic so that in that will minimize crashes. That is what our agency is for. It is the lead agency in minimizing or seeing to it that crashes goes down. And so one of the ways we educate the public or road users is through campaigning. And we do this with a very good support from the media, because without the media, we cannot reach the masses. And so we come up with seasonal campaigns periodical campaigns, annual campaigns, and the rest. This time, because as you rightly said, the Unity comes with a lot of mobility and a lot of crashes is anticipated. We have, ahead of the Christmas and New Year season, come up with this campaign. So we are partnering over 200 media houses nationwide to do this, which include your own station. And so we launched it last 2 weeks, and we are preparing the grounds to hit the ground running so that everybody will hear of us. So you are seeing more of us on traditional and social media just because of the campaign that we've just launched 2 weeks ago.
Right. So last year, I remember we were here, and it was more about Arrive Alive. This time, it's Stay Alive. Why the change of name? Was there any shortcomings of Arrive Alive to have changed it to Stay Alive? What is the difference in there?
Thank you. This mass campaign, we intended it to be a 4-year campaign with periodic evaluation to know what went wrong and what went right, and to do adapts. And so we started with the pilot last year, October, till this year, late January. And we named it Arrive Alive. But in the course of the campaign, there arose some legal battle around the name. Somebody claiming it's copyright. It's a baby.
Internally in Ghana?
Not internally. In Ghana, internally. But outside the confines of the authority. So we finished with it, we solved it somehow, but because we started with the name, we needed to finish. So we finished, we did the evaluation, we had the outcome, our shortcomings, what we did right. And so going forward, we now adopted the Stay Alive, which was even originally in our minds. It's the same meaning to the Arrive Alive. So going forward to the 3-year campaign period, we are now using the Stay Alive. So the piloting came with Arrive Alive, but the name to stay is Stay Alive. And then when we say Stay Alive, there is a slogan to it that Jai Obonsam Ejuman.
Interesting. So I'm going to say it and you respond for us to get it properly. Stay alive.
Jai Obonsam Ejuman.
Stay alive.
Jai Obonsam.
Finally, stay alive.
Jai Obonsam.
Ain't Jai Obonsam Ejumano? If you know that you are, causing accidents on the roads, you are doing things that would make people lose their lives on their roads. If you are not observing the road signages, if you are not observing, if you're not being disciplined on the roads, then you are perhaps helping in Obonsam Ejumano. Ain't Jai? Jai, you. Jai. Now let's stay alive. And so you made your assessments and everything right from Arrive Alive, but you say that it ended in January. So in between January and up until last 2 weeks, that was certainly in November, when you launched Stay Alive. What has the authority been up to within these months?
All right, thank you very much. But before I go there, I like the way you responded to the slogan. You made me respond to it because that is the objective of the campaign. We want the Jai Obonsam Ejuman slogan to become a hashtag, a household name, like some campaigns we've known about. The value is the same. The, how do we call it? The mining thing.
I may not necessarily call, but I can say one thing, that as a marketer as well, I understand the essence of these sloganeering and all that. It helps the essence of the message stay in there. Yeah. And it will also dwell with us. It will become a common name, a household tag such that if a driver is driving recklessly, you can just shout, "Hey, driver, jai obonsam ejumanu." And even though it may seem a bit funny, there is some element in there. Nobody would want to tag as being an agent of Obonsam, of Bonsam, the devil. And so anybody who hears this would know that there is a message in there, and I think it's a very good thing.
Thank you very much. So that is our objective, that it becomes a household name for the whole public to get involved in solving the indiscipline on our roads. And when we do that, people will be checked, and then the indiscipline will go down, resulting in reduction of the crashes. Because this year, from January to October, the numbers we are seeing and recording is too phenomenal. It is worrisome, and it is unacceptable. We need to do everything possible to bring the numbers down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is it. And to your question, between January and now, we've been putting our legislative instrument, the last bit together, and we were able to successfully make the Attorney General advise us finally, and soon Parliament will pass it so that it will become operational. We have an operational act that we'll be working with as an authority. So we're doing that, and then we're putting our authority status into exercise or into trial. So in March, we gave some directives, 5 directives, that will see to it that a certain indisciplinary action of the drivers will go down a little, which are what? They are, the directives were already in our airline, but we're not adhering to it. We're not monitoring to see whether the drivers were adhering to it or not. So we came up strongly and ordered the operators and the unions to direct their drivers who travel more than 500 kilometers or 8 hours a day to have 2 drivers in their buses, especially the high occupancy buses. After that, they should make sure there are logbooks in their vehicles which will check overspeeding, because when you sign in the logbook, the time you left your destination and the time you arrived will be checked. So if you went beyond the stipulated time, we'll know you are overspeeding, and that is it. And so, and then we made them to find a road safety officer amongst their operational areas, so that the road safety officer will check the driver, the vehicle, and everything that goes on before departure. So if our road safety inspectors come around, it is the road safety officer that they have appointed who will report to them, for them to also report to head office. And then after training our road safety inspectors that we recruited when we became an authority, they have been going for periodic inspection in terminals, in buses, to see whether the directives we gave is ongoing, or they just are certain they are not doing anything. Also, we have liaised, part of the directives is that every operator or driver union should make sure their drivers attend a mandatory continuous driving training after they have been trained. And we are liaising with DVLA to make sure that thing becomes operational, and that if a driver is not certified for going through this training for a year, your renewal or upgrading of license will not be permitted. These are some of the things we are doing. And then around October, we had this collaborative enforcement action, whereby unapproved or unprescribed lamps that some drivers, haulage drivers, tractor drivers, and even small drivers have fixed on their vehicles illegally were removed. And if I tell you the number of vehicles that were fitted with these unprescribed lamps that we call killer lamps were removed for a week, you'll be shocked. About 1,418 vehicles for 1 week, but we did it for a month. We are collating our numbers and the whole result, and we'll bring it out soon. I think as much as 5,000 vehicles were accosted, being fixed with unprescribed lamps. These are some of the things we did with TVLA, MTTD, and management of the transport unions themselves. And we are glad, in a way, we'll be able to regulate night driving, because that thing has been causing a lot of accidents, because those vehicles that have been fixed with those unprescribed lamps have been blinding oncoming vehicle, and in the result they've all been getting into crashes. So these are some of the things we've been doing, and then alongside our normal outreach that our regional office go through, those are the things we have been doing, just to name a few.
Interesting. So all of these seem to be, I realize there are some new initiatives in there. This tells me that these are perhaps things taken from the Arrive Alive campaign, the assessment and all that is being put into, operationalization in other areas. What would be the mode of operationalization for Stay Alive? Because I've seen, like you said, you have involved a lot of media outlets in this, which is one of the ways of ensuring that information is out there. But when it comes to, the implementation of all of these wills that you have, or all of these measures that you've put in place, there seems to be a challenge. How do you intend to implement all the good policies in Stay Alive?
All right. Thank you very much. Apart from the media outreach that you rightly said we are involved with, we've realized from the evaluation assessment of the Arrive Alive that only talk, only education will not do the trick. There is a gap if enforcement doesn't come in, because people continuously become indisciplined on the road as they continue to drive. They think they are professionals, they know how to maneuver, they know how to handle the steer, so they don't adhere to anything. Because from our assessment from the previous campaign, we realized that from 40% of awareness creation of road safety measures, it has risen to about 80%. And we intend to push it to about 90-95% with this current campaign. But although the awareness has risen that up, still the resultant effect on crashes is not being felt. So we think there is a gap where enforcement has to fill. So we have roped in the MTTD. We are going to Dr. Dampari, who is now the IGP. We've also seen the way he's being very proactive. And so we, as part of the campaign, we'll pay him a courtesy call led by our Director General, and we appeal to him to let his men be on the road this time around as we educate people on road traffic regulations and rules. They should be enforcing it. And so the more we talk and people know, as they enforce, the gap that is there will be bridged. And I think enforcement will do the trick, because we have sat with them, we've designed something, and I know we've reached an advanced stage where the police MTTD will be procuring cameras in addition to the ones that have been mounted. The ones that have been mounted is more of surveillance for security and crime. We want to narrow it down to road traffic regulation or enforcement. So now cameras should be mounted so whereby they will be detecting speeding, wrongful overtaking, and any other infractions that is on the road, and then you'll be captured by a monitoring system. I know preparations are far advanced. I think we are getting to just the procurement stage. When they do that, I think that automation of road traffic enforcement will go a long way to do the trick. As we talk, now people will be forced to adhere, because when we leave them like that, they do whatever they like to do. And added to that, now that we become an authority, we also have this enforcement right, institutional enforcement. And so regularly we will be going out with our inspectors to the stations and to the road to see whether still there are some infractions there. If it is for the agencies, then we will make them comply, because now we have compliance status. So we write them compliance notice for them to comply with safety features on the road. If you fail to do it, there are consequences that will follow. And so our mandate now has included enforcement, but not individual enforcement, institutional enforcement. Then coupled with the police, will be able, when they are doing their individual enforcement on the road, we bring in the institutional enforcement. We think this will solve most of the problems, because as the police is tightening the enforcement on the road, we are also seeing to the institutional compliance, and I think it will go a long way to see the statistic being reduced in subsequent times.
Right. Well, you say that the authority, road safety authority, will be meeting the IGP soon. Already there is the existence of a relationship, a collaboration between the road safety authority and the Ghana Police Service in the form of the MTT department. Now, would you say that the MTTD has, been efficient enough in helping the road safety authority, embark on its preparations? I'm saying this because I don't know if you checked social media. Recently, we saw an MTTD officer harassing a driver, such that the driver had to speed off with the MTTD officer in inspecting him. And this is not the first time. It has been happening over and over the years. There are times you see the MTTD officers lying on the cars while the cars are driving away. How do you assess their performance? Would you say that they have been efficient?
This is a very heavy, daunting question. And they've been doing their work, collaborating well with us. When we call them for stakeholder meeting, they come, they bring their suggestions, things they think they will do to improve enforcement on our roads. And we appreciate all that. But I think down there, the officers down need to be reoriented. That is the fact. Because the top hierarchy is ready, very collaborative. They work with us at the top. But down there, they need to be checked again. Some are doing well, most are not performing to our expected how do we call it, outcome. Because if they are really enforcing as they should have, a lot of the indiscipline would have gone down. And so most are doing well. A lot too needs to be reoriented and talked to. And so because of what some of them do there, it has created a gap in the road safety management chain, because the chain will be complete when education is complemented by enforcement, engineering, and emergency services. We call these the 4 E's. So when all doesn't come to play, the chain or the cycle is broken. And when the cycle or chain is broken, road safety promotion suffers.
Well, I hope that this will be one of those concerns that will be addressed with the IGP when you finally get to meet
The
him.
first and the major one.
Right. Well, we'll quickly go for a quick 10. Certainly, you're enjoying this conversation, and if you want to know more about staying alive within these times, keep your ears to the ground, because the National Road Safety Authority is not relenting on ensuring that you and I are safe on the roads. Do stay tuned.
Blue City is a manufacturer and supplier of high-quality fashion accessories. We design and make quality bow ties, flying ties, lapel pins, ladies' brooches, fabric necklaces, African wares, and so much more for your weddings, schools, institutions, bands, choir, singing groups, individuals, and so many more. We use both African prints and foreign fabrics to make your beautiful accessories for you. Oh yeah! Contact us via call or WhatsApp or SMS on 0240 926 564. Locate us at Odoko Official Town opposite Emils Preparatory School. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Blue City Fashion. Blue City, creativity and style.
Do you know that we have phenomenal influence on our various regulatory bodies? How many of these regulatory bodies do you know within the country? Are you aware you can lodge your complaints if and when you are not satisfied with a product or service? How often do you ask the relevant questions? Whom do you call when things are not rightly done? Connect with me on Regulators on Adoatv as we deliberate on the purpose of these regulatory institutions, their functions, accomplishments, and shortcomings. We ask the back-breaking questions and get the unpolished truth. Be a part of our conversations.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
That is a slogan for Stay Alive, a program by the National Road Safety Authority for you to keep to keep alive, to stay alive, to keep faith, and to keep life living. Well, I'm here at the offices of the National Road Safety Authority, and I'm having a conversation with the Communications Director for the authority, Madam Edusu. We've had a conversation about Stay Alive. In case you missed it, well, remember we're streaming on Facebook, Adoatv Ghana. You can always draw back to listen to the important messages in there. However, we're going to continue with the conversation, and so you can continue with us. Madam Edusu, thank you very much for having us once again.
Thank you for coming.
Now, let's go into conversations about some challenges that you faced. Now, over the months, we expected that, the road, the toll levy, that is, you call it the road safety fee.
The road safety fee.
Road safety fee which is what the public knows as the toll levy, and then also there was an issue about the banning of abubuya on our highways. However, there was a communique about the road safety fee. What was the substance of that communique from the NRSA?
All right, thank you very much. We realize that there is a challenge on our roads being caused by broken down vehicles which obstruct traffic and then also cause crashes to happen. When people's vehicles are broken down, they leave it there for days, sometimes weeks, because they don't have a towing vehicle available to tow their vehicles, or they can't just pay the exorbitant fees being charged by the private towing agencies or institutions. And so if you could recollect, in 2017, the authority, under the auspices of the Transport Ministry, brought up a policy, to charge a little fee from all drivers who pay premium to insurance companies. So from that fund, so a fund will be created from that. And from that fund, government perhaps will buy towing cars that weight can tow bigger vehicles, because the smaller vehicles don't pose that much problem because they can be even pushed aside. But the bigger vehicles, they are the most obstructional vehicles on our roads, and they are the ones that other vehicles run into and kill a lot of people and maim a lot of people. So 2017, this policy was brought, but surprisingly, the whole public, led by social activists, journalists, and some people, kicked against the policy. So cabinet withdrew that policy. And since then, the headache of managing broken down or obstruction vehicles have been a problem in the country. And motorists have been running into broken down vehicles and also causing a lot of congestion on certain parts of the road. So, because the Road Traffic Act 2004, it is in there that towing levy should be mandatory. And when we go to regulation 102 and 105 of the Road Traffic Regulation 2012, it is also in there that levy should be collected to manage broken down vehicles. Because previously the public has kicked against it, recently a national consultative forum was held whereby the Road Traffic Regulation 24 and 2012 were being reviewed. So certain portions were being reviewed through the auspices of the Transport Ministry. So the agencies that deal with road safety management brought up some sections that should be reviewed. The DVLA did, the MTTD did, and then we also did. So the regulation 102 and 105, which talks about managing broken down vehicles on our roads, was brought, 102 and 105, it was brought up. So we did a proposal that we should think of a way that we can prudently manage the situation. What our proposal that we brought was either subscription or a fee will be collected for government to manage these two things. And then the public or the participants at the forum rather unanimously suggested that the levy should be collected. That one will be more prudent. They suggested.
Well, what do you think?
So we didn't have a stand. So minister also was surprised because the public had previously kicked against the same policy. So why now? So he threw it to us that we should still hold consultative forums, talk about it, and see how the bigger picture will be and what is more acceptable. So I think journalists or media people who went to the forum took it up from that angle and reported, and gave a misinformation that National Road Safety Authority is reintroducing the compulsory towing levy, which wasn't the case. And so we needed to bring a statement to that effect, that it wasn't part of the proposal we presented at the review forum, that rather participants were calling for it, and so we wanted to know the broader picture out there. Then we will accept and we will come to a common ground and accept and implement the one the Ghanaian public will accept. We've not yet done that. So we know there is the need to manage broken down vehicles because it is one of the factors that is causing crashes on our road and instantly killing people. So there is a need. So we are calling on people. The accounts will say, and so people who are experts in these things come up with favorable policies, arguments, things that will help us to bring out a friendly policy to manage broken down vehicles on our roads. We don't have a stand yet. We say, let us come together, talk about it, hold forums, consultative meetings, and bring out the best practices that will help us tow our vehicles as they broke down immediately. That is where we are, because the subscription now that is going on, whereby drivers have to subscribe or have to tow their own vehicles, they are not being charged less than 3,000, between 2,000 and 3,000 for towing a vehicle. Even somebody called me today, his vehicle that was spot on the road was not towed for more than a kilometer, and they are charging him 1,500. He doesn't understand. So we should still find a way of managing broken down vehicles on our roads. That is the point. But we don't have a stand now because what we brought was kicked against. Which way is best to go? That is what we are on now. We're still jaw-jawing, and maybe by next year, early next year, we'll come out with a concrete policy. We'll throw it back to the public and see whether it will be friendly or still unfriendly.
Well, with all these submissions, what do you personally think? I mean, you have been a communications director, and not just a communications director, but you also help in the enforcement of the policies and most of the things. Do you think that the towing levy would be feasible to implement, looking at the challenges, the response from the public, the response from driving unions, amongst other things? Does it seem a feasible, a future term policy for you?
The towing levy or compulsory road safety fee, I think once it has been kicked against, we don't even want to mention it anyway. We don't want to mention it. But we hope the insurance companies or National Insurance Commission will come up with a way of, or government will come up with a way of collecting funds from the public unknowingly. The way we do national health insurance, the way...
You mean indirectly?
Indirectly.
Not unknowingly, because that would be a legal issue.
Indirectly. Get some monies so that the government itself will manage the towing. Otherwise, people will still will continue to leave their vehicles in the middle of the street because they can't pay for the private one that is currently going on. That is why we see them leaving their vehicles there, because the charges from the private institutions are way too high. And I think, personally, this is not the stand of the National Road Safety. I think the private towing institutions are behind the kicking against the fee paying, because when government takes the management, their work will go down. They may not get work to do, but we all need to come together. And if it will be a government-private partnership, it will be fine. So that when you have a towing service or a towing company, you register, and then you are the people who go and tow the vehicle, but you'll be paid by government. And I think that will be the best way to go. And so we still join, sitting down, thinking and see which way will be prudent, which way will be more efficient. I think by the end of this year, by early January, we'll come out with a more efficient or best practice on our road.
Very well. Now, when you check the road safety regulations that are supposed to be observed by commuters, drivers, and the like, there is a statement in there that addresses broken down vehicles and how they should be handled and parked on the roadsides, and even the duration that they should be parked on the roadsides. Why not base on this to prosecute those who leave their vehicles on the roads for a very long time if they are kicking against the towing fee?
This thing, you will not even see them. The police themselves have towed vehicles to their stations which are not being towed. The owners and the drivers vanish, and the vehicles will be there till the place become too clumsy, crowded with vehicles, and they have to auction or do something about it. So it is not also working. It is not also working. You will not even see the person to process for prosecution. And so it is the vehicle in your yard. You continue compounding, and your yard becomes very congested with broken down vehicles that has been left in your care. What will you do with it? And you cannot also drive a seized item. You understand? So we've seen that one too is not working. That's why we needed a more efficient way of handling that. Because it says when after a number of many hours you don't come for it, you should be prosecuted. Where is the driver? They get down, they go their way. You understand? So all those things are not working. That is why we wanted to come in with a compulsory levy, which, according to Ghana, the citizens, it's not friendly to them, because some people cited the reason where premises where you may be paying that levy and your vehicle may not break down ever. So
I wonder which vehicle doesn't break.
Because
the high-end exotic vehicles
they still need servicing. And for instance, if you pay a token for another vehicle to be towed off the road to create security and safety, I don't think you've done a bad job. I've been paying national health insurance for years. I've not been sick, but my little token is being used to take care of someone else, and it is promoting health, right? The same way we wanted to do. But I think there are some activists behind, invisible people, who this thing doesn't go into their favor. And so they have the mouth, they have the platform, and so they talk loud, they become very loud, and others follow. I think those who think this, the way we wanted to go would be best, should also come out. If there is another option, they should bring it on board, because it is necessary to manage the broken down vehicle.
Since you shared your thoughts with me, let me share the thoughts of my very good friend who works with an insurance company. Now, you know, vehicles and insurance go
Hand in hand.
Now, he says that in most cases, you find some of these vehicles that, you know, are driving without insurance, but during operation by the MTTD and the DVLA, we realize that, as well as the National Road Safety Authority, we realize that some of these vehicles are apprehended and they quickly go there. So there are times when there'll be a work and there is a long queue. He asks, where are all these people coming from? And so I am thinking that, you know, in every policy, there are those who would kick against and those who would be in favor. If you say you would wait on people, perhaps you would continuously dilly-dally around. Why not go straight forward? Find a source of, you know, implementing it and quickly jump onto it. Have you thought about that as a measure?
No, not yet. So as you've brought it up, I'll relay the information to my management and we'll see. Because let me tell you, the reason why that policy was withdrawn, even to the extent that some of my top hierarchy management were arrested. People reported them to the police, they were followed and they were apprehended, sent to the police. The minister have to, this is in-camera discussion, but I'm saying it. So if we want to bring out a policy that will go to the good of the public and for my institution or where I work, say, my personal reputation will be attacked, then I may as well withdraw. You understand? That is it, because tomorrow if something happens to you, your children will be left orphans and you don't know who will take care of them and their future may be interrupted. So this is beyond the institutional level.
So, well, like you say, you are putting in measures to see what will be best.
Yeah.
So let's pray and hope that it would all go well.
We'll come out with best practices. Right. We are seriously following that thing because it is one of the biggest challenge on the head of the authority.
Indeed, and one of the challenges on the head of the authority, I must say, is the introduction of the ban of Abubuya on the highways by the Greater Accra Regional Minister. What was the first impression of the authority when this came up?
The impression was at least it will reduce congestion on the motorway and on the highway. Because you know this Aboboya, Pragia things, those vehicles came way after the road traffic regulations and acts were promulgated. So they were not embedded in there. Their regulation is not there. What they should do, where they should pass wasn't there. But now, per their weight and speed limit, they are causing a lot of congestion and a lot of obstruction on the highways and on the motorway. Notwithstanding that, it also creates an avenue for employment for some of the youth who would have become recalcitrant and do things involving social vices. So you can't stop it just like that. But other measures have been put in place by the regional minister so that the inner roads, you can work up to that place. But on the highways, you know, there is a speed limit on the motorway, on the highways. And their speed limit doesn't conform. Okay. You understand? So causing a lot of obstruction, congestion, and it results at crashes. So maybe it is good the minister is regulating them, but not saying that he's preventing them from working.
Yeah, not prevention
from operations, but regulation on the highway, not preventing you from working or operational preventions, but regulating you from the highway so that safety is taken into consideration on the highways and on the motorway, because a lot of crashes has been happening there due to their operations there. And I think You see, in life, if you are not restrained or regulated or made to be disciplined, sometimes discipline is not a pleasurable thing. But when you become used to it, it also promotes positivity, development, and progress. So we are in support, but it will not be all smooth from the beginning. But I think as time goes on, we'll see how it goes. Because man needs to chop, but safety too is paramount.
Very well. Now, final thing, this just came up a couple of days ago after the finance minister read the 2022 budget. The subsequent closure of toll booths. Now, months before the toll booths have been closed, we heard about an unfortunate incident on the Tema motorway at the Tema toll booth where a vehicle ran into the toll booth, maiming some of the toll attendants. About road safety, do you think that it is safe, the nature in which we collect our tolls, people being in the center of the roads where of course any vehicle could veer off and crash into their booths?
Because we are highly indisciplined on our roads, it's not safe. But if drivers were adhering to the safety measures and road traffic regulation, it is a job for somebody. But you know, drivers are, how do I say it, grossly indisciplined. That is causing all these things. So if I will be there and at the end of the day, my life will be at risk, then it's better I'm not there. Recently, we had a commemorative service of Remembrance Day, remembering road crash victims. Friday, so some surviving victims were brought to give their testimonies. And one lady, when she gave her testimony, I wept because she's a mother of two. She was involved in an accident 2004, and there was this metal put in her leg. She became disabled, so she was working at one of the toll booths, and I think she might be part of the people who were crashed into by the narration you just gave. And somebody who has been disabled from a previous crash was crashed into again, and the metal in her leg removed. They have to operate on her again. And the previous crash made the husband run away from her because he was tired from taking care of her. The two children were left on her, with the first one or second one being 8 years at the time, who has tried to complete polytechnic with the toll booth work the mother was doing. He has completed poly, and as he is out of school now, do you know what he does? If the mother is going anywhere, he carries a pillow, follows the mother, so that when the mother is going to sit, puts the pillow there for the mother to rest her leg on the pillow, otherwise she can't sit. This is how crucial the effect of road accident is. And so anything to be done to prevent crashes is acceptable by the authority. But we need to also make sure the people who were affected economically are taken care of and placed somewhere for them to also get something to take care of their house.
Very well. Well, let's take a quick turn. Indeed, anything that would help or ensure safety on our roads is a concern of the National Road Safety Authority, and it's my concern too. That is why my producers and myself have decided to bring you this conversation. A big thank you to the National Road Safety Authority. We'll go for a quick turnaround. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation, looking at other aspects of road safety as well. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at the work premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
And when you drive, just make sure that you stay alive. That's all we need within these times. I'm here at the National Road Safety Authority, and I'm here having a conversation with the Communications Director for the authority. We've had a good conversation by far. Thank you very much for having us once again, and welcome back from the break. Now, Jayabonsam Ejumano, I addressed typically drivers, but are drivers the only ones who usually engage Obonsam Ejumano on the roads?
Thank you. The Obonsam Ejumano slogan is not only for drivers, but to all road users.
Okay.
Because every mistake from any road user will result in a crash.
Okay.
When you are a pedestrian crossing the road by not being attentive, a vehicle may crash into you. It might not be the fault of the driver. It might be your fault. When you are a passenger, you force a driver to speed up because you are in a hurry, and it results in an accident. It is not the driver, it is you. So anything you do to cause a crash, any type of road user, you are doing the devil's work. And when it results in crash, we attribute it to the devil rather than knowing that we cause the accident through our behavior. So any type of road user, be it a tricycle rider, a motor rider, a bicycle rider, a pedestrian passenger, or a driver, if you don't adhere to the rules that keeps you on the road, now we are Obonsam Ejuma. So it's not only addressing drivers. And the drivers, sometimes when we talk about drivers, people take their minds to the commercial drivers. But not only commercial drivers, private drivers are also drivers, corporate drivers are also drivers. But mostly, we see the corporate drivers behaving well because of the corporate institution they are in. There are transport managers who are well endowed, who manage the drivers well. That is what we want the commercial drivers to do. Appoint managers who are well endowed with much experience, if it could be, with a little form of knowledge, so that they can manage them well to behave well. When that thing is done, the regulation aspect comes in. They will be managed to an extent that the Obonsam Ejuma will be minimized.
Very well. Now, I want us to stay a bit more on the Obonsam Ejuma. Look at some of the activities that might constitute or amount to Obonsam Ejuma. Amongst the 4 E's of the National Road Safety Authority are emergency services and engineering. Now, engineering determines the nature of the road, the smoothness of the road, the comfortability, amongst other things. How are you involved as an authority in the engineering of our roads to ensure safety?
Thank you very much. Roads are constructed to develop a country, and it helps in the economic upliftment of the country and the socio-economic life of the people, even with health. Road comes in to solve a lot of problems and promote the economy of the country. But the safety of the people should be a paramount feature on the road. And so we are supposed to conduct safety audits on the road to see whether safety furnitures are part of the road, because most engineers or most road construction, they do this scientific thing, sometimes forgetting or not paying particular attention to the safety furnitures. So we come in by conducting road safety auditing, not by our sole agency, by collaboration with the road agencies, because they have the engineers and we have the safety experts. So collaboratively, we are supposed to conduct auditing, see that safety furnitures, even sometimes the safety furnitures that are put on the road are not placed at the appropriate places that will create safety. So all these things needs to be checked. But previously when we were commissioning, we were advising, because there was no power, there was no law backing us to make them comply. And so either they do it or not, it was only advised. But now our mandate is such that the road agencies or the engineers need to comply with the auditing aspect of construction before, during, and after.
Right.
And so now, but these things are, this thing, in putting it in a legislative instrument has not been a small task. The road agencies didn't understand where we're coming from, because they are the engineers and they know what to read on the road and where you're coming from. But we have safety experts, road management experts among us, and who knows where a safety furniture should be to create that safety compaction of the road. So it is in our airline now. When it comes out, it becomes operational. And so a safety audit needs to be carried out. Before you construct the road, it's necessary experts come to show you where a safety furniture should be, where lighting should be, where bus stop should be, where sign marking should be. When you accept and you do it, before you open or inaugurate the road, it should still be checked whether you did the right thing or not before the road is open for use. When it is not, you are made to comply. That is what the law or the act that established the authority is saying. So I just hope and I just pray that the engineers and the road agencies will understand this bit, so that collectively we will work in enhancing road safety. And then the emergency services too. We are building ambulance bay across selected areas or black spots across the country. The two paramedics will be stationed there and an ambulance will be stationed there. So near places that we know accidents occur frequently, when something happens, immediately the ambulance is called. You get there to take care of the victims so that their situation will not aggravate. Because when lame people handle crash victims, they aggravate their condition rather. Sometimes we kill them by handling them. But there are trained paramedics who are to be stationed somewhere to handle them, and this is the emergency service. So when a crash happens and there are no paramedics, there are no ambulance to immediately salvage the situation, it will cause a lot of injuries and death. So if you are able to handle it efficiently, that is where the cycle is completing. And so there are major stakeholders, we liaise with them, and we are funding the ambulance bay, and we hope that these things, when it is done, will go a long way in solving most of the death and injuries we see on roads.
Certainly. So you've touched on the other E, and I'm happy about that you've touched on emergency services as well. Now, briefly, we had pressed with time, so briefly, tell us, in these times, if I want to be Nyamiobofo while somebody is doing Abunsambi Jumano, how do I contact the authority or any other person to report? Because this has been the challenge that a lot of people have been facing. We see the MTTD officers with their walkie-talkies and all that. We can't speak to them through that. How do we contact?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for asking this vital question. What is happening is that road safety, as part of our authority mandate, we are establishing a road safety information or call center. Sooner than later, maybe in 2 weeks' time, it will be open for the public. And our short code is 194.
So you already have the short code?
We already have the short code. We are just integrating it, and it will be open soon. And so that is a way of interacting with the public, so that the public will get the chance to report and to do inquiries on any road infraction, be it from the engineering side, emergency side, enforcement side, or education side. When you call us, wherever the infraction is coming from, will direct the appropriate agencies and authority to take it up. And per our mandate now, when you don't comply, there will be sanctions. So we monitor and make sure that a particular infraction is addressed in time. So when we open it up, we will come to the public again through the media and announce to them that an information center has been established, and they could call to report any type of infraction, be it pothole, be it a billboard that is blocking the view of drivers, be it a broken down tree that is in the middle of the vehicle, be it a construction defect that you think will cause risk on the road, be it even a bribery incident involving an enforcement officer. Call us. Anyhow, we will address those things, because when we don't do that, people will continue being irresponsible and indisciplined, which will continue increasing the figures. And when it increases, other people will sit and say road safety is not doing their work. Meanwhile, collectively, we are not doing what we all have to do as a contribution to the reduction of crashes on our roads.
Thank you very much, Madam Edusu. I'm grateful for your time and the knowledge that you've shared with us. I briefly want to find out if I happen to be the one to give the bribe, can I also report after giving the bribe?
How?
That is certainly
there is, let me chip in with it. There is even higher thing coming. That one we are not announcing.
Okay.
That one you take a picture or a video and send to the short code. And when that is done, a reward follows.
Interesting. So I will be very abreast on the roadsides. Anytime I get to a checkpoint, it's definitely my cameras would be up and rolling, so that if you take and you put something in your pocket, I quickly forward to the short code. And so in 2 weeks' time, a good news from the National Road Safety Authority. And from now until 3 years from now, the message is stay alive. Jai
Obonsam Ejumano.
Stay alive.
Jai Obonsam Ejumano.
Stay alive.
Jai Obonsam Ejumano.
So anytime you feel that the devil is speaking to you and telling you to speed up, anytime you feel that the devil is telling you to cross at a wrong place, anytime you feel that the devil is telling you to drop something on the road that might cause somebody else's life, remember that I will say I would die Abunsam Ejuman. You need to stay alive. I need to stay alive. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on this edition of PM Ghana. That has been a great conversation with Madam Pearl, the Communications Director for the National Road Safety Authority, where we brought this conversation to you. See you on Thursday for some further discussions about matters that govern our country. My name is your most humble servant, Reginald. Have a lovely day.